Chapter 1. Your Infinite Worth. The purpose of these talks is to bring about a psychological change in you, the individual. Humanity, understood psychologically, is an infinite series of levels of awareness, and you, individually, are what you are, according to where you are in the series. Consciousness is the only reality, and where you are conscious of being psychologically determines the circumstances of your life. The ancients knew this great truth, but our modern teachers have yet to discover it. There is only one substance in the world. Our scientists call it energy, while Scripture defines it as consciousness. We are told that the universe was caused by water. But if this is true, then it could not evolve into anything but water. But if the basic substance is energy or consciousness, it can be made to manifest itself as iron, steel, and wood, to name but a few. Man, seeing a variety of forms, thinks of numberless substances, but what is seen is only a change in the arrangement of the same basic substance, consciousness. Ephesians tell us that all things, when admitted, are made manifest by light. The word light recorded here means awareness, consciousness. The state the individual admits into his consciousness is the cause of one man being rich and another poor. The poor man admits to being in the state of poverty by saying, "I am poor," just as the rich man admits wealth by saying, "I am rich." Anything you, an individual, claim yourself to be it good, bad, or indifferent, right or wrong, must be made manifest in your world. For by claiming the state, you have consented to its life. There is only one cause, and that is consciousness. Your consciousness is the center from which your world mirrors and echoes the state you presently occupy. Now, a state can be defined as all that you believe and consent to as being true. So if you want your world to change, you must determine what you want to accept and consent to as true before you can change it. To arrive at a certain definition of self, you must begin by uncritically observing your automatic reaction to an event. For your reaction defines your state. And you can, without getting out of your chair, rebuild your world by changing your level or state of being. This is done by observing yourself uncritically as you react to life. If you do not like the circumstances of your life, acknowledge its cause. Be willing to admit that the circumstances are only objectifying what you are conscious of. Then change your consciousness, and your world will change. If you react to that which is being objectified, you bind yourself to a certain level of awareness. But if you refuse to react, the thread is broken. Stop being conscious of something unlovely, for every unlovely thought causes you to walk in psychological mud. Rather, identify yourself with beauty, with love, the Christ in you, and you will ascend the infinite level of your own being and change the circumstances of your life. Your state of awareness, like a magnet, attracts life. Steel in its demagnetized state is a whirling mass of electrons, but when the electrons are faced in one direction, the steel is magnetized. You do not add to the steel to make it magnetic or take anything away to demagnetize it. The same principle is true for you. If you can change your world by rearranging your thoughts and having them travel only in one direction, and that is toward the fulfillment of your desire. Watch your reactions to life for any change in the arrangement of your mind which can be detected by self-observation will cause a change in your outer world. It is important to learn to be passive to that which is unlovely and unacceptable to you. In that way, you are awakening the dynamic one within. And when you find your inner being, you will discover that the qualities you condemn in others are really in yourself. Then you will know the secret of forgiveness. For as you forgive yourself, the others are forgiven. All things, not just a few, are made manifest by the light, and everything manifested is light. The moment you consent to a thought, it is made manifest. It could not come into being unless you consented to its expression by being aware of it. The universe moves with motiveless necessity, as it has no motive of its own. Rather, it moves under the necessity of manifesting the arrangements of the minds of men. This is teaching you to awaken to your light, and the awakening begins by self-observation. If you have a secret affection for living in the mud of self-pity and condemnation, your world will mirror those feelings. But if you will rearrange your mind and live in the heavenly feeling of harmony and love, your manifested world will change. If today you would spend 5 minutes in uncritical observation of yourself, you would be surprised to discover how deceitful you are. It is a terrible shock, I know, but every shock of this type will let in the light of awareness. And life is an ever-increasing illumination. As the light comes in, you become more and more conscious of who you really are. There is only one cause for the phenomena of life. Only by observing your own consciousness can you discover the cause of what is happening to you. There is no greater tyrant than the belief in a secondary cause. Let that tyrant go by remembering the one and only substance, the only cause, which is awareness, and immediately change what you are aware of. Only by observing your reactions to life can you find yourself. And remember, as long as you react as you do, the same things must confront you. For all that you admit to is made manifest by your consciousness, and everything you manifest is your consciousness. Stop walking through the world in the mud and living in its basement. Your soul is made up of all that you consent to. Lose your soul on one level, and you will find it on a higher level, defined differently. Always examine yourself uncritically, for the moment you become critical, you automatically justify your reactions and associate yourself with the thing observed. Everything is individual. Collective security and collective salvation are terms approached individually. Learn to stand on your own feet and not on the feet of a group. You must free yourself, and the only way to do that is to awaken the Christ in you, who is sound asleep. Think noble thoughts based on noble concepts, and they will pay great dividends, for you will rise in consciousness and transform your world. Give yourself your daily bread by giving yourself the opportunity to remember who you are. Never envy the good fortune of another. Simply appropriate your own. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, by changing the ideas planted there. For you cannot change your thinking until you change the ideas from which your thoughts flow. Chapter 2. Take not the name in vain. Your individual consciousness is your level of being and attracts all of the events you encounter in life. Since your reactions determine what you are, any change in your outer world must be produced by your inner level of being. In the 7th chapter of the book of Mark, we are told, "Hear and understand, there is nothing outside which can defile man, but what comes out of a man's mind is what defiles him. He who has ears, let him hear." Now, thoughts are things. When you identify yourself with a thought, it outpictures itself as an act. If the thought is unlovely, it defiles you. Awaken and select only thoughts that contribute to the birth of your desire. You must constantly observe your dwelling place, for where you are psychologically is what you are. Your mood indicates your state, and you are always externalizing the state upon which you stand. The Upanishads, one of the classic Vedic treatises dealing with broad philosophic problems, states, "The soul, imagining itself into a state, takes upon itself the results of that state. Not imagining itself into the state, it is free from its results." Your soul is what you consent to. As you feel yourself into the situation of your answered prayer, you have entered a state, and your soul has taken upon itself the results of that state. If you do not enter the state, you are free of its lovely results. Accept an idea as true. Identify yourself with it, and it will outpicture itself in your world. But if you do not accept the thought and identify yourself with it through feeling, you are free from its results. You must become very selective and learn not to associate yourself with unlovely thoughts. In the Book of Kings, we are told how those who entered the temple brought something alive with them, such as an ox or bullock. These were used as burnt offerings. These sacrifice offerings are your body of suffering. They are the animals you must offer, called grievances. No matter what the grievance may be, you have no right to carry it around with you, and you cannot ascend in consciousness until all of your grievances are tossed on the altar and sacrificed. Only as you give them up will you find the holy water. Now, this holy water is not the church variety, but the symbol of the 12 aspects of the mind. When your mind is cleared of all its cobwebs, grievances, the bowl of holy water is placed on the backs of oxen, and your disciplined mind serves you rather than you serving it. The bowl symbolizes the mind in its wild state and must be tamed, washed in holy water, and clothed in soft raiment. When you enter the Holy of Holies alone and bathe in its waters, your mind is washed of all mean thoughts and cleansed. Begin now to associate your thoughts only with the good, then that which proceeds out of your mouth, mind, will never defile you. I am is the self-definition of the infinite. Go and tell them that I am has sent me unto you. Awareness, I amness, is the only power of the universe. Its power makes you alive. If you say, I am sick, you are. If you say, I am secure, you are. Feeling yourself into the situation of a given state, you must take upon yourself the results of that state of mind. All things are made alive from a state of mind, and without the state, nothing can be made, as you only resurrect the state from which you are identified. Where you are psychologically is what you are in reality. Therefore, if you catch yourself feeling sorry for yourself, stop it and start feeling happy. If you don't, you will identify yourself with the state of self-pity and outpicture it. Let the weak man say, I am strong. Don't wait until you become strong before saying this. If you feel weak in any sense, affirm, I am strong. And if you persist in that assumption, it will harden into fact. No one should ever take the name of the Lord in vain, for that name is I am. The righteous man is already conscious of being the person he wants to be. He never sins, but runs into the name, for sinning is missing his desired state, and righteousness is hitting it. I will set him on high because he knows my name. Assume the consciousness of being the one you want to be, and you will be saved from your present state. Your individual hunger can and will be satisfied when you run righteously into the state desired. This is done through the act of feeling. Feel happy, and you are conscious of happiness. Feel married, and you are consciously moved into the state of marriage. The thing desired must be felt before you are conscious of possessing it. Learn to say no to unlovely thoughts rather than accepting them with passive indifference. For a soul must imagine himself into the act to taste the fruit of the state acted upon. Remember, consciousness alone is the cause of the fruit you reap and the only explanation for its existence. There is no one to blame but self for all the things that have happened, are happening, and will happen to you, as they could not come into your world unless you consented to them. Start now to consent only to lovely thoughts of fulfilled desires prior to their confirmation by your senses, and give up the animal instinct of suffering and bathing yourself in the feelings of hurt and self-pity. The psychological tongue is much like the physical one. If someone annoys you, turn aside and keep the tongue of your mind away from the sore spots of dislike, for your little mental conversations are the producers of your future. Sacrifice your body of suffering by giving it up and taming your mind, for we are told, "Blessed are the meek, tame, for they shall inherit the earth." Clothe yourself with joy and good news, and you will walk into your Holy of Holies clothed in your immortal garment of love. There is a rhythm in the world which you cannot hear or see, and your aura is like no one else's. A bloodhound knows. If two odors were alike, no bloodhound could find you. But you are unique, one of a kind, with your own special aura radiating your level of being. Don't judge auras, for the simple reason that you have to see the aura of another through your own, and what you are seeing is only your assumption of the man. Complacency is a curse. Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness. Control your imagination with steady attention and dare to stand and be heard. Andrew is the disciple who symbolizes this aspect of mind. Pay attention to your thoughts and discipline them so that they flow from the feeling of your wish fulfilled. For you are not awake until the outer you becomes placid and the inner you dynamic. Don't try to argue someone out of their misery. We are told to let the filthy be filthy still. What is that to thee? Follow thy me. Man is given the power of the I to think, and everyone is allowed to think for himself. All things, when admitted to consciousness, are made manifest, be they good, bad, or indifferent. Dare to stand on your own by this teaching, and you will never again feel the need to justify failure. Chapter 3. Desire. As you are, so shall God appear to be to you. The priest will see God as the head of all celestial and terrestrial records. To a judge, he is the great judge forever meting out punishment. To the Hottentot, God is the kind of chief he himself would like to be. So you see, men are forever creating God in their own image. God is God from the creation. Truth alone is man's salvation. But the God that you now worship soon shall be your God no more. For the soul in its unfolding evermore its thoughts remolding, and it learns more truly in its progress whom to love and how to adore. Through this teaching you will learn to outgrow your concept of God, for God changes not. Only your ideas of him change. Desire is your mainspring of action, for you cannot move without desire. Ask yourself, what wantest thou of me? And then formulate your desire. Feel its presence, and you have granted yourself the desire's fulfillment. Human life is nothing more than the appeasement of hunger, and the infinite series of levels of awareness is the means to satisfy that hunger. Health is a desire, a hunger which can be appeased when the idea is formulated in the mind that I am healthy. The same is true for wealth, peace, harmony, or fame. For all of these are states of awareness. Identify yourself with the state desired. Persist in this identification, and because you and God are one consciousness, what you are conscious of, you outpicture. The cross is the symbol of suffering. There is no physical cross upon which a man was nailed, but a body of beliefs which a man wears. Except you deny yourself and lift up your cross and follow me, you are unworthy of me. Lift up your cross by raising your awareness. For your I amness is the creator of your world. As an individual, you move and live in time, but your true being is in eternity. Think of the vertical line of the cross as the line of being upon which there are unnumbered levels of awareness. Now, time cannot make you better or wiser. In fact, time cannot do a thing towards changing your level of being, for change is all on the vertical line, where you move to higher or lower levels of your own being. Because change is imminent, we speak of it as infinite imminence, as nearer than near and sooner than now. The man you would like to be is imminent. He is nearer than near. The ideal you dream of being is sooner than now, and is brought into being by a change in your reactions to life. In the book of Revelations, we are told, I will give to every being according to his work. The only work you are called upon to do is work on yourself. Start this work by observing your reactions to life. Remember, your future is not being developed. It already is. The time track is complete as well as all of the events you can encounter. As you move up or down the level of your being, changes will occur in your life. You are now resting at a certain level. Arise, take up your couch, and walk. By breaking the threads of life that bind you to the state you are now in. Break these threads by changing your thoughts, for only as you rise within will you find a corresponding change without. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you were of too pure eyes to behold iniquity? If you were all tenderness, all love, all generosity? Aim for those feelings, and then watch your relationship to them. It is here, in the midst of the storms of life, that you work this law. If you identify yourself with an unlovely state, you will find yourself sinking into it. But you can lift up your cross by breaking your automatic, mechanical reactions to life and sacrificing your present level of being. This message comes not to bring peace, but a sword. It comes to set a man at variance against his brother, father, mother, and all members of his household. For I bring the sword of truth, which is the word of God. This word is sharper than any two-edged sword, for it is capable of piercing the soul and spirit. I am not suggesting that you turn against your earthly relatives, but that you turn against the psychological ideas that govern your behavior and the dominant mood which governs your actions and reactions to life. If at this moment your feelings are not noble, turn against them, for they are your psychological mother. This is done by putting new feeling in their place. You cannot change your thinking until you change your feeling, and all feelings come from ideas. A man's enemies are those of his own household, which is everything he accepts as true. This sword can pierce even to the severing of soul and spirit. Your Father, your I Am, is spirit, and when you worship him, you must do so in spirit and in truth. Be still and say to yourself with feeling, I am he. All that you consent to, all that you believe and accept as true, be it wise or foolish, forms the clothing you wear. But you can be reclothed and ascend to a higher level of being when you take up your cross and follow your imagination. Most of us are aimless. We want more than we presently have. We want the other fellow to change, but we don't want to do the one thing that will bring the change about, for we don't want to change self. In Revelations, John tells us, I will give to everyone according to his work. The gift is not given according to the work of another. but according to the work you do on yourself, and that work is to uncritically observe your reactions to life as they bind you to a certain level. Disassociate yourself from your unpleasant thoughts and associate yourself with your aim, thereby rising to its level, for your ideal is on the vertical line you stand upon. Scripture tells us to seek and you shall find, and when you find him, you will be like him. I tell you, you will never find your fulfilled desire until you are the desire. Those who go searching for love only make manifest their lovelessness, for you never have to search for what you are. I am Mary and you are married too, for we are forever conceiving of ourselves. The whole of human life is the appeasement of desire, and desire, conceived as fulfilled, will externalize itself. If you are not hungry enough to transcend your present level of consciousness, you will not conceive of anything greater. As long as you are in love with the state you are in, you cannot, and you will not, rise from it. Without the vertical line of states, life would have no meaning. The ancients called this the infinite series, Jacob's ladder. You do not build this ladder, rather you climb it through self-discovery. When you think of another, you are seeing only your opinion of him. If you think he is kind, he is kind. If you think he is stupid as he is playing the part you have assigned him because of your opinion. Therefore, if your desire is for him to change, you must change your opinion of yourself, for he is only your opinion pushed out. Where you are psychologically is what you are. Therefore, only associate with the feeling that leads you to the fulfillment of your dreams, and may all your dreams be noble ones. Chapter 4. Are you making wine? The Bible's purpose is to lift the individual up to a higher level of being. This begins in the state of Moses and the discovery of I Am. Then in the book of Isaiah, we are told to turn back your foot from the Sabbath and take delight in the Lord. Let us examine this thought to find its deeper meaning. Now, in order to keep the Sabbath, you must cease from having any mental doubt, as the mental foot you stand upon is your belief. When your mental foot touches the earth, its action is automatic and mechanical. Using your powerful consciousness, begin now to break the mechanical hold it has on your life by turning your thoughts to your fulfilled desire and observe the Sabbath. The twins spoken of in Scripture symbolize your duality, Abel, the inner you, and Cain, the outer you. A reversal of order must now occur, for in the New Testament your true identity is revealed as Christ, the inner you, your hope of glory. As you walk the earth, see people as they want to be seen, and you are pouring oil on their wounds. But if you do not, you are as the scribes and the Pharisees described in the 23rd chapter of Matthew, doing their deeds to be seen by men. They preach, but do not practice. In the 3rd chapter of the book of John, the story is told of Nicodemus, an intellectual man who believed that if he kept the law of Moses, he could enter the kingdom of heaven. Yet he was told, "You must be born again, born of water and spirit." Here we see the difference between the intellect and wisdom. Keeping the law of Moses is not enough. You must experience a change in the level of your being, thereby giving you wisdom in order for you to know rebirth. Your inner talking is the breeding ground of your future, be it lovely or unlovely. This is told us so vividly in the book of Deuteronomy. I set before you this day blessings and cursings. Every time you tell someone off, even though it is done in your mind, you curse him. Every time you do unto others what you would like done unto you, they are blessed in the doing. Water is the symbol of psychological truth. To know the truth is not enough. It must be acted upon, at which time the psychological water turns into wine. Start now. to observe all of your unpleasant, negative thoughts and change them. For until you separate yourself from the state from which these thoughts flow, they will continue to cause you to have the same experiences in life. Chapter 5. Seeing God. St. Augustine once said, "O my God, let me see thee, and if to die is to see thee, then let me die, that I may behold thy face." Yet when we fell, God told us, "You cannot see my face and live. But I will cause my glory to pass by, and when I pass by, you shall see my back, but my face you will not see." That God is your wonderful I amness, your awareness, who is forever claiming, "I am, that is who I am." Imagination's power is the only power. It is your power to kill, to make alive, to wound, and to heal. It is your imagination which forms the light, makes the good, and creates the evil. And there is no other God. Man is inclined to believe in two powers, one for good and the other for evil. But I tell you, there is only one. The I in man is he who kills and makes alive, who curses and creates. Your consciousness of being is the only reality. The self-definition of an absolute state is I am divine, and this absolute state is God. It is your I am, which cannot be seen. Matthew tells us, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." The word pure in the above statement comes from the Greek word katharos, which also means clean, clear. To be pure, the mind must be cleared of all obstructions created by traditional, wrong thinking. The heart must be cleared of the belief in a secondary power. Only when this is done will you be blessed, for you will know the one and only God to be your true self. There is no power outside of you. The same power in you that makes the good creates the evil. Start now to free yourself from the belief in two powers, for only then will you be pure in heart and see God. The whole vast universe is nothing more than the response to the consciousness of men. If you believe that the I in another is the cause of your displeasure and not your own I, then you have planted a tree in your mind which is obstructing your view and must be uprooted. We are told, "No man shall imagine evil in his heart." I'm not speaking of a physical organ, but of the mind, the center or heart of the matter. When your heart is pure, you become a member of the order of Melchizedek. Read the story carefully, and you will see that when Abraham slaughtered the kings, all of his negative and unlovely ideas, he returned to find Melchizedek, the symbol of the I am, the being you really are. Learn to discipline your mind, for only the disciplined mind can maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If what you had imagined has not come into being, it is because you have not severed the ties that bind you to the level where you now stand. You must break your mechanical reaction to life in order to change your life track. The only reason for this teaching is to encourage you and push you up the vertical line of the cross. It is very important for you to learn to be uncritical of yourself, for if you are not, you will justify your behavior which will cause you to remain in your present state. But if you will stop being critical, you will stop the negative thoughts that bind you to your present state and move out of it into another. There are 3 ways to clear your mind of the trees of traditional wrong thinking and allow you to see God. They are uncritical observation, non-identification, and sacrifice of the state you formerly believed yourself to be. Man tries to see God by means of little pictures, but God can only be seen through belief in one power. Through uncritical observation, you will encounter your particular state. If you don't like the role the state requires you to play as it unfolds, stop reacting to it until you reach the point where you no longer react. You are not pure enough to see God. When you see Him, you will know Him, as you will be like Him. Where I am is always what I am. Establish one I within yourself, not a number of I's. The I roots out all secondary causes and clears the mind of the power to enslave. Your belief in powers external to you is a tree which must be rooted out of your mind. Begin now to use this technique and you will realize your every dream. But first, you must have a dream, a desire for something, as desire is your springboard of action. Define your objective. If it were fulfilled now, where would you be physically? What would the world look like? Would your wife, husband, mother, father, or friends see you differently? Feel their presence. See the joy expressed in their faces, and hear their congratulations. Repeat this act until you have the feeling of accomplishment. Then, having assumed the feeling of completion, remain faithful to it, for your assumption contains within itself all of the plans and power necessary for externalization. You need do nothing on the outside, for by your assumption your mind is being rearranged, and what it confirms, it externalizes. Your desire may be for an improvement in your financial position, your social circle, or a deeper understanding of the mystery. The desire is up to you. But when put into practice, this technique will never fail you. The kingdom of heaven, with its many states, some lovely and some not so lovely, is within you. The state capable of wounding or healing, killing or making alive, is within you. They are all psychological states, completely furnished and ready to externalize themselves in your world. And if having entered a particular mansion, state, you do not care to remain there, you may leave it. By the same technique it was entered, through the act of assumption. It is so easy to feel sorry for yourself and so very difficult to give up this feeling. But you cannot enter another state until you do. No one can uproot the weeds of self-pity or the trees of so-called second causes for you. You must uproot them yourself. God put Adam in the garden to tend and keep it. As Adam, you fell asleep. But when you awake, you are Christ, the power and the wisdom of God. Start now to observe your reactions to life and do not allow yourself to become identified with any unlovely state. Sacrifice your little hurts, your grievances, and belief in secondary causes. Then you will be blessed, for you will be pure in heart and see God. Awake, test yourself, and you will discover that the fault you see in the other exists in you. Turn to self, and you will find the Christ in you who is your hope and glory.